A lot of you are going to be interested to move to Florida this year or maybe next year, but a lot has changed over the last 2 years, and so this video is about what you need to know now in order to ensure that you're really well prepared in case you make the move to Florida. My name is Katrin.pfitzenreiter. I'm a real estate agent in Sarasota, Bradenton, Venice, and Lakewood Ranch. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, subscribe, like this video. It does help out the channel. And now we're ready to get into this video. The first point is Florida is absolutely amazing, but it isn't for everybody. We have had so many people that moved in here, especially over the last 2 years. Some publications actually saying that more people move to Florida than anywhere else. And that's just a testament to how great Florida state is. I myself moved from New York City about 11 years ago, and I absolutely love it because I like the warm weather year round. It is much slower than the rat race I had to deal with in New York City, and I absolutely love just driving around and seeing palm trees. And I'm in Sarasota, so I'm really close to the beaches as well. Based on my conversations with people who are thinking about leaving, who have left Florida, many are choosing to leave because they were unprepared when they came here. Some of it has to do with the fact that they came to vacation here in the winter, which is the best time of the year, especially when it comes to the weather. So I would say the weather, the extreme heat, is most likely the #1 reason why people move out. They just underestimated how hot it gets here in the summertime, how rainy it is. They underestimated the hurricanes, maybe just weren't well prepared when it comes to dealing with a hurricane. But a lot of this is very avoidable if you have spent some time here, especially in the summertime. There's other reasons why people leave as well. But I would say if you were to just come here, even to rent, prior to making a decision to move to Florida, you're going to be so much better off, because if you make the decision to move to Florida, it's more likely you're going to be happy here because you already know, you have a sense of what it's like living here. #2 is affordability has gone down here in Florida. Florida has historically been known as an extremely affordable place, and that's one of the reasons why lots of retirees would choose to move to Florida, not just because of the warm weather, no state income tax, but it was just a really great place for them to enjoy their senior years while being around beaches and not spending as much money as maybe in some of the other retirement communities outside of the state. Well, that's all starting to shift. So affordability has gone down quite a bit. And I'm not necessarily talking about the real estate prices having shot up, though they have, but we're really talking about real estate and how wages haven't been able to hold up with the real estate increases, the rental prices increases, just cost of living in general. When we talk about unemployment, Florida actually has one of the lowest unemployment across the United States. There's ample of job opportunities in certain sectors, such as in the service industry, healthcare. But in general, wages just haven't held up as well as the price increases for commodities, for real estate, for all these other things that we need to account for while living in Florida. And so if you're thinking about moving to Florida, just make sure that you account for all the expenses that you're going to have, right? So if you purchase a house and it's in an HOA community, make sure you factor that in. Figure out how much it's going to cost you to maintain the house, taxes. So just make sure you have a budget sheet and really compare what it's going to be costing you to live here now versus where you're moving from. Now, if money is no object to you, I guess you can skip this part altogether and we'll just head over to #3 now. #3 is real estate prices. Real estate in Florida these days is no longer affordable. Now, you can argue that prices have gone up everywhere in the United States, and for the most part that is true, but prices in some places in Florida, sought after places, have literally doubled in about 2 years. And so a lot of you are now kind of turned away by how expensive it is in certain places that you may have been eyeing. But it's also important to know that not all places in Florida are equal. There are some places in Florida that's still really affordable to live in, and lots of people are moving there and are happy. So I don't want you to give up on your dream of moving to Florida because you're looking at prices in Naples or Sarasota. Yes, absolutely. Those are way more expensive than many of the other places in Florida. But some really great places to look into that are more affordable is Daytona Beach, for example, or Jacksonville on the east coast of Florida. If you want to be more central, you could look into Orlando, maybe Ocala, which is further north from Orlando. Ocala's median price for a single family home, based on Redfin's December data, came in at $243,000, which is almost half of what it's costing right now to purchase a single family home in Sarasota. Now, I will also say this, if it's still within your budget to purchase a dream home in Sarasota, for example, or Naples, wherever you have been interested in looking, do it if it's going to increase your satisfaction in life, if it's going to help you live the lifestyle you've always been wanting to live, because sometimes you just can't put a price on that. Number 4 is taxes, because real estate prices have shot up so much, so fast. If you're looking to purchase a home right now, let's just say it works with your budget and you found a really nice home in Sarasota, what you have to know is that you're not going to be paying the taxes, most likely, that the previous owner has paid. Taxes cannot go up by any more than 3% a year for properties that are homestead. And for those that are not homestead, then it cannot go up any more than 10% per year. So the best way to estimate how much taxes are going to cost you is by utilizing about 1.1% of the purchase price. That's an estimation. It could be more, it could be less, but a lot of buyers didn't realize that. They're looking at the taxes that the previous owner was paying and they're assuming, okay, well, that's going to be the tax for me. No, it won't. It resets as soon as you purchase the house. So now all of a sudden, if you're purchasing a house that's maybe 60-70% worth more now than it was 2 years ago, well, guess what it does to taxes if taxes are roughly 1.1% of the purchase price. Number 5 is homeowners insurance. We're going through a real crisis. It's such a pain point to even talk about because lots of homeowners are very angry at the prices that the home insurances are right now. I myself am paying about $5,000 now to insure my single family home when about 2 years ago it was half that price. And so every time there's a natural disaster, in this case Hurricane Ian, just having brushed through here last year, we can expect the home insurance prices to go up yet again because we all pay into it. And it doesn't matter where you live in Florida, even if it's in a place that wasn't affected directly by the hurricane, we all still pay into it. Home insurance prices having already doubled for many of us, it can really cut into your budget, especially if you're already strapped for money. When we look at it in terms of where the home insurance prices sit versus the US average, it's about 3 times as much. And so on average, a homeowner will pay about $4,000 today to insure their single family home. Number 6 is deed restricted versus non-deed restricted communities. Those are 2 very different kinds of communities that I feel a lot of buyers, when they're shopping here in Florida, are very unfamiliar with. And so if you're here and you don't know these 2 different types of communities, talk to your realtor, explore the different communities and get a feel for it. I've had some buyers who really thought they were going to love HOA communities, but then they ended up buying a home in a non-deed restricted community, and also vice versa. So what are the differences? Let's start off with deed restricted communities, which are known as restricted covenant. There's a provision in a deed which limits the property and how it can be utilized and how it can be built upon. A deed restricted community is typically a homeowners association community, an HOA. You usually pay a fee, an HOA fee, and that fee could be $50, $100, $500 a month. Some HOA communities, you also have to pay a CDD fee, which is a community development district fee, which is passed through in the form of a tax. Not all communities will have it. Usually it's the newer ones where they have to build infrastructure. It really depends on the community and what you get for it. Some HOA communities are very amenities rich. You'll find it being gated, there's tennis courts, a gym, pool, maintenance free, they'll come and mow your lawn. In that case, you can expect the fees to be higher on a monthly basis. And some HOA communities aren't as amenities rich, and so usually the fees will also be lower. Now, in an HOA community, you have rules and regulations that you need to abide to, and each community is going to have different kinds of rules. They could be not being able to put a fence around your house, or maybe you can't change the color of the house without getting HOA approval, or perhaps you're not allowed to park an RV in your parking lot, period. The advantages of purchasing an HOA community is that it keeps up a certain look in the neighborhood, and it does help with appreciation because you know that the community in most cases is going to be really well taken care of appearance-wise. It also helps, in my opinion, when it comes to keeping a good relationship with your neighbors, because you already have an association that does all the rules and regulations. And so if your neighbor breaks them, you're not going to be the one telling your neighbor. It's going to be a member from the association. In some ways, being in a deed restricted community can be very limiting because you have rules and regulations that you need to abide to. So if you're looking to purchase a home in an HOA community, make sure you read the documents that come along with it, because you want to make sure that you know what you're signing up for, because the HOA community is going to ensure that you follow those rules. That with a non-deed restricted community, you're much more free to do with your property, around your property, what you wish to do. Of course, you have to abide to city and county rules and regulations, but you don't have those specific HOA regulations to abide to. The feel may be very different. You might be driving through a community where you'll see a lot of the RVs, boats parked in a parking lot. If you're interested in non-deed restricted communities, but you want it to look a certain way, you should just drive around different non-deed restricted communities and see what you like. The pro of a non-deed restricted community is you got more freedom to do with your property as you wish, given that you still have to abide to city and county rules and regulations. It usually is also more affordable because you don't have to pay the monthly or quarterly HOA fees. Now, the negative is you may feel that a property needs to look a certain way. Your neighbor may not agree with it, and you don't have an HOA association that's going to ensure that the property is being kept up. Number 7 is condo fees. So if you're somebody that's looking to purchase a condo, or maybe you own a condo, or perhaps you know somebody that owns a condo here in Florida or is interested in purchasing a condo, it is so important that they really know about the Surfside bill and the consequences. The Surfside bill was passed due to what happened in Surfside in 2021, where the building collapsed and so many people died. It was horrible. It is here now to ensure that this never happens again in the future. I actually think everybody should wrap their head around it because it's going to have a huge impact on the real estate condo cooperative association market. The Surfside bill is somewhat complex, but can potentially impact those owners of condos or cooperative associations that are covered by the statute. What is the statute all about? I'm going to read this because it's so important that I get the language right here. The new statute requires mandatory structural inspections for condominiums and cooperative buildings that are 3 stories or higher, and that condominium and cooperative associations complete a structural integrity reserve study every 10 years. There's so many more details when it comes to this bill, which is also known as the Senate Bill 4D. And so make sure that you work with a realtor that really understands what this bill is all about. You may also want to engage with a lawyer that can really help you navigate it. The bill will likely pose a huge financial burden for Florida condo associations and cooperative associations, especially in older buildings. And that will likely translate into higher HOA fees and assessment fees for many. Now do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, please like this video. It helps out the performance of this video, the performance of this channel. If you have any questions in terms of moving to Florida, living in Florida, call me anytime. I love hearing from all of you. And if you're looking to purchase or sell in the area that I work in, which is Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota, Bradenton, and Venice, I would love to hear from you as well. Talk to you about how I can help you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I always appreciate when you guys do. Take care.